3, 2, 1. I'm number one today. What's up, everybody? It is. Let me check. Hold on. I got my watch on my other wrist this week. Oh yeah, it's Monday. For those of you keeping track at home, we'll obviously drop this video sometime this week. I am Kevin Pillow at Voice of Reason 23. I get to say it first. Yes. Now he is the Dark King, JR Cabacungan at also not JR Comics 42, as you can see there on the bottom there. Well, as we drop this week, since it's not live and we're recording in the past, why don't we go ahead and say it? May the 4th be with you. It is Star Wars week, and I just had a conversation with my daughter explaining to her the importance of not just May 4th, but May 5th. Remember, for hardcore Star Wars fans, we have 2 Star Wars days this week. We have for the light, May the 4th be with you. And for the dark, like my buddy JR, Revenge of the 5th. That's right. Cinco de Mayo, we're taking it back. The Sith are taking it back. And it is Star Wars week. Yep. And just to get it out there, I'm sure JR has it in the notes. If not, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. May the 4th, we get the Bad Batch on Disney Plus. If people are asking, like, why don't we get Loki until June 11th? Move over, Marvel. Star Wars gets its turn for a few weeks. So, JR, I know you're geeked for that. It is the continuation of Rebels and the Clone Wars.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna totally enjoy that. If we're not doing it, I'm just gonna like probably give you small tidbits on it throughout the week, guys. But yeah. And just for everyone to notice, man, I'm gonna have Kevin a little bit just take a lead a little bit, man. I have been feeling down. I've been trying to do a cleanse or a caffeine cleanse where I'm just wiped for most of the day. And
what's that guy's name? What's that guy's name from the Chappelle show?
Ashy Larry.
Yeah, no, yeah. You got some of that. You got some of the caffeine.
Oh yeah, Joe Rogan. Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking.
That's JR right now. You got some of that rock star Joe Rogan.
Oh my dude, I'm trying to supplement it with like Gatorade because Gatorade has no caffeine in it.
No, but it's a good combo.
Yeah, it's good
Pedialyte.
Yeah, Pedialyte. I'm trying to probably take some other pills right now, like vitamin D and all that, to help me with just like energy.
So anyway, so send your well wishes to JR. He's feeling it. Hey, for someone who's gone through a soda cleanse about 7 years ago, I know what he's going through. And really and truly, I've had some friends, and just to get serious for a moment, to sound like Lance Storm from the early 2000s. If I could get serious for a moment, it's the closest thing to me of going through a detox, and I commend all those who are in AA, NA, and whatnot that give the hardcore stuff. But I gave up soda, and I have a friend of mine who is recovering from narcotics, and he saw me and he's like, he pulled me aside. He's like, dude, what have you been on? Pepsi. Dude, I've been drinking a 6-pack of Pepsi every day, and I kicked it. I was just like, I was miserable. So he's like, now you know what I went through. And I'm like, but he went through the hard stuff though. But yeah, JR, I got your back right there, boy. Yeah, I know what you're going through.
It is a tough task, but like it's whatever. It's cool. I go through a cleanse every like 3 or 4 months because your boy works out and I take a lot of fucking pre-workout. So
and of course that's why it's suns out, guns out on a Monday night.
It's hot, bro. It's like 100
degrees. It is. Not to start things off on a somber note, I do want to get this out of the way, and no disrespect to John, but a iconic comic book legend passed away over the weekend. John Paul Leon passed away after a 14-year battle with cancer. Dude, that is some superhero comic book level battle right there. 14 years, nearly 2 decades battling the big casino, and unfortunately he succumbed at the young age of 49 years old on Saturday. He was born on April 26, 1972, so just a couple of days removed from his 49th birthday. He passed away in the early mornings. Some will say it was probably late night of Saturday, but early mornings of May 2nd. So our condolences go out to him and his family. He's remembered by his numerous contributions to DC and Marvel, one of which was his career-defining Earth X with John Kruger and Alex Ross. Of course, you can see
Yeah.
a taste of that's more of an Alex Ross cover
Yeah.
right there, correct?
Yeah, that's Alex Ross cover. John did the interiors, and his interior art was amazing, my guy.
And
His
for those of you who don't know, head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/PS Comics I Love You. When I posted the tribute to him last night, I used his recent iconic foil cover of Detective Comics number 990.
Mhm.
It is absolutely brutally fantastic depiction of the Dark Knight with the bats and stuff like that. It's a great cover. And just to tease a little bit about what we have coming up, we said that today was going to be the best of April. That is going to be pushed in next week, and I can guarantee you, even though it did not come out in April, I got to imagine that Detective Comics 990 is probably going to end up in my list. If not, at least we'll get a mention. But check it out; it's a great little cover. He survived by his wife and daughter. Again, our condolences go out to John Paul Leon. And he goes way back. I mean, he started his career in DC in the early 90s as a penciler.
Yep.
I mean, this guy is at 49. I mean, the guy started super young in the comic book industry and left us way too soon, and did a hell of a run with the X-Men, Batman, and a handful of others from DC.
Oh
I
yeah.
know.
Just recently too, Jim Lee, he tweeted about him and he displayed some interior art from a couple of his pages, man, uh from John's pages, and it's like, yeah, like you see the influences today, where like he's influenced so many comic book artists today, and it's definitely uh it definitely sucks to lose a
Yeah.
legend like this in the game, man. But I feel like, he just had so much more to give, dude. Because like his artwork, or his pencils and lines, dude, it looks very very on par, if not even at certain points exceeding Jim Lee's stuff, man. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy, dude.
And,
Yeah,
and this, you could definitely tell that this guy grew up in the early 90s.
yeah.
Sorry for those of you watching the YouTube channel. Both of us are showing our age today. I continue to struggle with my pinched nerve. I had acupuncture today. I think I have bought literally every ice pack that's available on Amazon.
Nice.
Which, by the way, Jeff Bezos, you're welcome. I think I single-handedly is the one who made Jeff Bezos a trillionaire, even after he went through the most expensive divorce in the history of mankind. But yeah, no, John's covers, you could definitely tell in some of his interior work, you could tell he grew up in the early 90s and early to mid 90s, because his especially his Batman depiction has a little bit of has just a taste of a Jim Lee kind of inspiration to it. But then he turns around and makes it his own.
Yeah,
You know, Jim.
his work is so gritty. Like,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
looking I'm looking at the tweet right now, and his Winter Men coverage looks the Winter Man cover looks freaking amazing, man.
and
Uh,
think about it. Like, look at
yeah,
who his parallels. He did X-Men,
yep.
and he did Detective Comics. So, gee, what other famous artist did X-Men and Detective and a Batman book?
Yep.
Jimbo.
And
So
also let's I forgot to put this in the side note, but like his family put out a GoFundMe memorial of like $2,000 or $2,000 or $3,000. That it just like it already been
oh
smashed
yeah.
easily. It's in the 30,000, but if you guys are still want to contribute to the foundation, I think I will post the link, or I'll give my boy here the link, and then we'll post it
Yeah,
in the
we'll
thing.
get it up there.
Yeah.
What we do like about that kind of stuff is, it's obviously because, we do live in this day and age that we're able to reach out. When I grew up, growing up in the church,
Mm.
when someone passed away, the community got kind of rallied together. We saw a little bit of that too in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That was very much a theme in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Was it's all about community, and we saw the people rallying with the Wilsons in it. And I kind of grew up around that too. Was like in the church when someone passed away, there was kind of a little bit of assistance. I know there was a church over in Indio when there was a family from the church that passed away. They every time, no matter what, they held a barbecue um, to raise money so that the family didn't have to worry about it. They had more on their plate. And so if you could go, I know, yes, we get it. He was a famous artist. He probably has a few shillings put aside. But
Yeah.
when you have a grieving wife and a grieving daughter, the last thing on their mind is not only are they worried about burying their beloved husband and father, but to put the extra weight of, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay? Because it is
Yeah.
still a business of the funeral. So if you can help, do
Yeah.
so. We'll have it on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
So yeah. But the other thing too is I know that he was really into. I thought I had read somewhere that he was really into artwork, getting kids involved in the arts. And I had this conversation with my son not too long ago. He's really struggling with reading, and I said, grab your comic books. And there's a statistic out there that says that more than 50% of students, their first interaction with reading came from a comic book.
Yeah.
And so that's why JR and I do podcasts like this. We talk about movies and stuff like that, but we very much talk about the nerdy side, because some of our earliest readings were comics, graphic novels, funny strips, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I can remember reading, yes, Garfield and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, again, Godspeed, John Paul Leon, from all of us here. I know maybe you didn't get into Star Wars, but may the force be with you. Wakanda forever, live long and prosper. All the above from all of us in Nerdland. But yeah, so we'll get that link up there. Going from that horrible news of the passing of a comic book legend to more bad news for Sony. Not to do a shitty segue, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. Morbius has been delayed again. This, of course, we were supposed to get in July of last year. Then it was delayed to fall. Then it was delayed to, I thought it was delayed to the fall of this year as well. Now
Yeah.
it was in early January of next year, and now it's in late January of next year. Some of this, JR, could be delays in production. Some of this could be maybe they knew coming down the pipes were these big announcements that we're going to get to here in just a moment of new tent poles from Disney. We do know that they have littered the calendar for the next 10 years with some massive tent poles between Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and of course 20th Century Fox and Lucasfilms. But Sony is delaying Morbius once again. Now, go with me on this. Again, we don't know if it's production, but could it be that they're laying the groundwork that something massive is going to be announced in December of 2021? And that being Spider-Man No Way Home. We're going to see the opening, possibly the opening of the multiverse, or at least the Spider-Verse, in December of 2021. That's this year. And then, of course, shortly thereafter is the Multiverse of Madness with Doctor Strange. I think that, again, we're going to talk to you about here in just a couple of minutes. I think it's scheduled for February. So maybe, Jared, maybe, just maybe, Morbius, which we saw in the teaser trailer from last year. Actually, shoot, I think we saw the teaser trailer back in 2019.
Yeah.
We saw Michael Keaton's Vulture in the trailer. So
That's right.
it's a possibility that it's all together. It's all intertwined. So
it'd be interesting to see.
it is.
I'm
And
pretty.
I hate
I was pretty sure that it was gonna somewhat adjust to like a possible like an equal lines of like who else is coming out. I was thinking then possibly also too like maybe they were trying to miss some of the bigger hitters that might come out that day as well, because like Morbius, it's I thought that was an interesting character to have a solo film for. Yeah, I was thinking more so maybe what's the other one? I want to say Kruger. No, there was the what's his name? The other Spider-Man villain who was a hunter, Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, Kraven the Hunter.
I was thinking more so Kraven would be probably get his own solo film rather before Morbius, but then hey, it was I think it was pushed by Jared Leto to become Morbius. But hey, here we are. If you get an Emmy Award winner to do a solo film for you, I guess do it.
But who knows too? We got to take into consideration Morbius, the living vampire, something that has not been introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet. So we're going to find out that it exists at least in the Sonyverse, which is loosely intertwined with Marvel sort of, because we do know that Tom Holland's Spider-Man, the official Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man, will be making an appearance in either Venom 2 or Morbius. We don't know which, but we do know that he is contractually obligated to appear in at least one, maybe two official Sony canon movies. So again, it could be that it's going to be Carnage and Venom. It could be Morbius. It could be both. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I had a segue there. I don't know. Either way, Morbius scheduled for theaters in January 28th of next year. It's moved 1 week from its release date for 2022. What I was going to say is about Morbius is, obviously he's the living vampire. I think there's other factors to his origin story. But remember, 1 month after Morbius hits theaters, or maybe just weeks after Morbius hits theaters, we get the Multiverse of Madness, which will involve the Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, who now is she's a Scarlet Witch, and she has the power of the Darkhold, which we know in comics creates vampires, which is we're waiting for Mahershala Ali. Moving right along, we'll get to Marvel. We'll get to plenty of Marvel here in just a moment. Wrath of Man drops a Red Band trailer. I haven't seen it yet because I haven't had an opportunity yet to see it. Jason Statham in a Red Band trailer. You got my at least streaming $6. I don't know if I could go see it in theater, but interesting twist. It's directed by Guy Ritchie.
Oh yeah.
Wrath of Man is in theaters May 7th. Can't say I'm a gigantic Guy Ritchie fan, but I do know his type, and him and Statham together could be a good mix. And
they've been working together for a very, very, very long time. I remember Guy Ritchie's I forgot the film. I'm trying to find it right now. It was like it's the film with like 5 different viewpoints, and like with Brad Pitt in it. He's like, he goes, "Do you like dags?" I remember that film. I've had that
Snatch.
Yeah, is it Snatch?
Is it Snatch?
Yeah, I think it's Snatch. Let me check right now. But yeah, it's like it's their long time, like it is Snatch. Their long time
I remember seeing that one time and was not impressed.
Yeah, they've been together. They've been working with each other for a very, very long time. Even with, I think it was one of the more weirder films that I think Guy Ritchie done. I think it was something Long Stock and Barrel or something like that. It's another Guy Ritchie film.
His famous movies he is known for is Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch. He did, oddly enough, he did The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is kind of weird. He also did, which is a highly, highly underrated series of movies, is he did. I'm not talking to you, Siri. Goodness gracious.
He did Arthur.
He did King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. But look, I was looking at his writing credits. Dude, he's doing Aladdin 2.
Really?
Did he do Aladdin 1?
I think so.
Is that a Guy Ritchie movie?
I don't think so. Aladdin 2, okay, but Aladdin 1, I don't think so.
Okay, and the gentleman, that's the Matthew McConaughey movie, right?
Yeah.
I gotta see. I still have not seen that.
Yeah. Going back to Wrath of Man, I saw the regular trailer right when I was watching a basketball game, and I saw the regular trailer, and then I saw the Red Band trailer. I'm like, yeah, that's right up Jason Statham's alley. He's being the old man, like anger type of stuff. It like is featuring like a man, I guess, loses his son. His son gets killed. Well, his son's older, like I think in his 20s or so, and his son gets gunned down, and he wants revenge. So it's like one of those older revenge stories, but with a Guy Ritchie flair. So I'm hoping it's in the similar style of Guy Ritchie, like what he's done with Men of U.N.C.L.E., like he did with Sherlock Holmes with RDJ.
So great. That was what I was getting to. Was if you haven't seen Sherlock Holmes, I know a lot of people. Oddly enough, with it involving Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law, a lot of people sleep on it and they've never seen it. It did not have it was not. I saw it in the theaters, but I think it kind of floated under the radar. And then I really enjoyed the sequel, but it really kind of flew under the radar because I think at the same time that Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law came out, you had Sherlock on BBC America came out, which was a TV series. And again, we've learned with WandaVision and Falcon the Winter Soldier is you can allow with TV, you can allow a character piece like a Sherlock Holmes to breathe a little bit more and allow a guy like Benedict Cumberbatch to, and I think that's why like even my wife who loves both properties kind of leans a little bit towards Sherlock rather than RDJ's Sherlock Holmes, but Guy Ritchie did a fantastic job with that.
Yeah. I like just I'm hoping for more of the same in that context, even though it's a much more serious film where it looks like some of the older like revenge films of like old man like not Dirty Harry, but what's the other films back in the day where it was when it was just remade with I'm forgetting my names again. I apologize, everybody. But what is that? I know. The person who Die Hard.
Oh, the remake of with Bruce Willis, and he did Death Wish.
Death Wish, yeah. So it's kind of like similar to that vein, where like it's a man who lost a family member in it as a grudge, but like overall, man, the Red Band trailer looks crazy.
I'm gonna have to check that out tonight. So
like he starts, it looks pretty gruesome, and I'm like, all right, cool. It's definitely in the vein of Jason Statham movie.
Well, maybe we'll get that trailer. We'll get that trailer posted on our Facebook page as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll do a little bit better as we're entering into the summer season. We'll try to do a better job of posting some of these trailers. By the way, in just a moment here, we're going to explain why you need to head over to our Facebook page and check out something we dropped earlier this morning. With that said, let's move to the next news and notes. Something that has tried desperately over the last 3 or 4 days to break the internet with memes coming out of their ass. It is Amazon's Invincible. It was announced over the weekend that Amazon Prime has renewed for 2 more seasons the Robert Kirkman Invincible. Of course, Invincible is the follow-up to the monster property that he did that basically put him in the big chair at Image Comics, that being the Walking Dead. But Robert Kirkman's Invincible has been picked up to continue its story of Mark Grayson's Invincible for 2 more seasons, starring Academy Award nominee Stephen Yeun, J.K. Simmons, and Sandra Oh. If I'm not mistaken, J.K. Simmons Academy Award nominee.
I think he's a winner. He's a winner. I think he's also an Oscar winner as well.
Oscar and Academy Award is the same thing there, knucklehead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You need to switch back to caffeine. It's all right, dude. I got you. That's why we're partners. Sandra Oh, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Sandra Oh win an Academy Award either last year or the year before?
I think so. Yeah, I think she won one. Yeah.
I've always been a fan of hers. I think she's a fantastic actress. And as we mentioned last week with our girl from Shang-Chi and Crazy Rich Asians, this is JR speaking. You can go back and watch the last episode. Asians don't age. And Sandra Oh, who still looks fantastic, but she's a fantastic actress. And I know, I know people know her from Grey's Anatomy. So
I loved her for quite a bit. She was another rom-com as well that I remember I loved her in. And
now I'm gonna look it up. I could have sworn she was in a movie with Ryan Reynolds, or a TV show with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I think so too. She did a movie. She did a rom-com movie with one. I think it was with another actor as well. I forgot what it was. But the one thing that I remember from, I think it was either an Academy where she and another Asian actress were on the stage and they started calling out people, right, for like whitewashing, and then like oh yeah, how a very Asian actor, like how a very Asian person with an Asian name, right, is played by a white actress, and she was talking about Emma Stone. Emma Stone was there. Emma Stone was in the stage. She goes, and Emma goes, "I'm sorry." I apologize. I'm so sorry.
She was Under a Tuscan Sun.
That's right.
With Diane Lane, which movie made me fall in love with her. She's in Sideways, which is a Academy Award nominated movie. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Underrated film. It was an indie. Let's see. Well, I could have sworn she did something with Ryan Reynolds way back in the day. I have to look it up. looking at her actress run. God, she has done so much work in the last 20 years.
Uh-huh.
I forgot she was in The Princess Diaries.
She was.
Yeah, she played the principal of the school. We just recently watched that with my daughter for the first time. She enjoyed it.
For your consideration. That's right. She was in that one too. I totally forgot.
For your consideration. Which one was that one?
For your consideration, if I remember correctly, it was she had a super small part in it, but it was if I remember correctly, it was I can't think right now. It's a mockumentary film. I just forgot what was one though. I remember watching it when I was like I think I was came out in 2006, but I remember watching it like back in 2012 or so because it had Eugene Levy in it. That's all I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was wrong. I thought she was in Two Guys, a Girl, in a Pizza Place with Ryan Reynolds back in the day, but that was not her. So
I remember that one. That was with somebody.
That's a great show. That did not last, but
yeah.
Nonetheless, Sandra is a great actress. So check it out. Season 2 and Season 3 coming soon to Amazon Prime. Sorry, I got an itch on my nose. Oh god, it's been one of those days. The wind out here. For those who don't know, the PS Comics I Love You studios are on the north side of Indio, and it's been brutal out here. So my allergies and stuff are. I'm gonna block here. I'm gonna hide. Okay.
It is terrible right now. Yeah, it's we're getting the extreme heat and like seasonal like allergy stuff, man.
So, oh my goodness. So, anyways, moving right along, Pixar's Luca dropped a trailer. I didn't know this. This one snuck past me too. Underwater creature boys break the surface and have adventures in a human town streaming on June 18th. So this is not going to be. Is this a straight to Disney Plus? Or is this going to be Premiere Access?
I think it might be just streaming to Disney Plus because
this is going to be like a Soul kind of.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a full on Pixar film, and I've seen like I want to say mermaids, but they're not really. They don't have tails. Well, they do have tails, but like there's like a weird type of thing. It's they come off the coast of an Italian town, and they they're young kids. It feels like a coming of age story, but with like mer folk. I guess that's the proper term. And yeah, it's very much in the Pixar-esque type of film, and yeah, it's just trying to they're having these adventures with other kids around their same age or look their same age, and so it looks cool. It's interesting. I'm gonna probably give it a watch or so when it comes out.
So we'll have to check that out again. It's June 18th coming to Disney Plus. We finally arrived. We busted through news and notes quick because we knew what was coming. The last few weeks, JR has feverishly done some absolutely fantastic scripts. And again, all the writing credits should go to my man over here who really does a great job even when he's not well. But it seems like the last I'd say that the last 3 out of the last 4 weeks, when JR has asked, as he likes to say, for a parlay, which means he can't record on Sunday or Saturday. He really wants to record on Monday.
Yeah.
Something happens. A few weeks ago, he asked for a parlay, and we got the Shang-Chi trailer. Yeah. I think last week was the MODOK, or I don't know, there was something else that happened.
Yeah.
And then this past week, I just texted him and said, rewrite the script, and I sent him the trailer at about 6 o'clock this morning, maybe even earlier. Marvel Studios hit us right in the feels. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, you need to go over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/PS Comics I Love You, or go to PS Comics I Love the letter U on Twitter, and we should have it there. They released about a 3-minute video that starts off like this is going to be a sizzle reel, which is like a best of. A lot of studios will use it to play important parts. Like for example, the first time I went to Comic-Con, they showed a sizzle reel of the best of the Big Bang Theory before the whole crew came out and talked about the upcoming season and so on and so forth. So it's like a best of, it's a highlight reel, so to speak, of what's to come. In some cases, it can be used as a preview. We saw a sizzle reel of behind the scenes of Miss Marvel, which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, they have released a behind the scenes picture of Kamala Khan in costume.
Yep.
And hold on, this just
Looks good. It's really good.
my God, the costume directors for Marvel Studios nailed it. The most comic book accurate costume I have seen so far. And then released behind the scenes too. We saw some more behind the scenes of not one, not two, but 3 characters, one of which my boy can't wait for. From Hawkeye, we see Clint Barton rocking the purple comic book accurate. They don't have the weird helmet, thank God. But we're talking from the Hawkeye series from a couple of years ago, a comic book accurate Hawkeye, a comic book accurate Kate Bishop, and a comic book accurate Echo. Who, by the way, it's a simple costume. Yeah. But for those of you who know, Echo is an indigenous deaf character from the Marvel universe, the Marvel comic universe, that has been adapted for Hawkeye, and they hired a deaf indigenous character to play the role. So this is going to be, it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. You know, and I'm not being disrespectful, but you know, I think it's going to be a tough portrayal. I think it's going to be a tough accepted, but I think this is going to be a good part. And I've heard nothing but good things. I haven't read any of Echo stuff, but I think it's going to be fantastic. And I think it's going to set up for Agents of Atlas. But nonetheless, costume director does a fantastic job. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, the behind the scenes costume, which has been confirmed by Marvel Studios that it's real, looks badass. So we get this sizzle reel. And it looks like it's, just like we said, it's the best of the last 10 plus years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, yeah.
And then you hear the voiceover. And reaching back from the great beyond is the creator himself, Captain Excelsior, Mr. Stan Lee, telling us to basically go back to the movies, to go back and be with people, to be with family, that we've grown up in this. And again, I would play it, but you know, copyright and crap like that. But it's at 6 o'clock in the morning when I haven't had a full cup of coffee, got me right here, got me in the feels. And like I think I texted this to JR, maybe I didn't, but I texted it to a friend of mine and said, it starts off with right here in the feels. The feels, because it does. Hearing Stan's voice with the great beyond, talking about family, talking about brothers and sisters, and we die for this. You know, we basically we live for this, we die for this. And then they show you a rare in theater bootleg of fans reacting raw to the what they call the portal scene, which is the climactic finale of Endgame.
Yeah.
On your left, Avengers assemble, place goes nuts, and it reaches this crescendo of let's go back to, or I can't remember what it was, but there's this big kind of moment and lettering on the sign, and then we see the letters, we hear the theme, we hear the march. It's like hearing Star Wars with the big gold letters, and it comes up. No, this is the Marvel Studios theme, and it's got a little different feel to it. It's a little more, it's a little bit more monstrous. It's loud, it's big. Something's gonna happen, and bam! What do we see right off the bat? Brand new footage from Black Widow, and we finally get the clean, crisp logo. Looks sick. We see more of Natasha Romanoff. We see was it Helena Beleba? I can't remember we see more of Red Guardian. We see more of Taskmaster. This is going to be an epic movie. This right here is what I needed to see, because I'll be honest with you, I was wavering a little on Black Widow.
Yeah.
I think it sat too long.
Yeah.
But
and I feel I kind of spoiled myself because I saw certain credits on when I was looking up the film again, and they reprised their credits. And if you don't want to be spoiled, don't look at the credits. Okay. I'm begging you, do not look at the credits.
Don't look at the credits. Okay, Jared, whatever you say. How do you spell widow?
Because you're talking about you're talking about in the fields. When I saw this,
okay, I won't say anything, but I'm gonna look because I want to see if I know what Jared's talking about.
Okay.
Rachel Weisz, Yelena Belova. I was close. Let's see. Oh,
did you take it off, or unless you see?
Is it a guy or a girl?
The guy.
Was it towards the top of the list?
Oh, are you on IMDb?
Yep.
Oh, homie, they took it off. I know they took it off because the one that I saw was quickly. Because I was gonna say like it was on there and then it was quickly taken off because I'm thinking maybe okay, cool, maybe they messed it up, but like it was on other sites too. It was on. Oh my gosh! If that happens, if it's in the film, I'm telling you, it's gonna hurt.
Well, I know that that supposedly RDJ was supposed to make an appearance in this, which he still might. I don't see anything that steps up. Guy, is it someone we were supposed to see in the Disney Plus shows?
I don't know who we're supposed to see. That's the thing. There's a lot of rumors in it, but
okay, then they may. If it's supposed to stand out, jump out at me, then it's not there anymore. There is someone on here that I didn't know was going to be on here, but then again, I'm probably an idiot, and he's probably been under there the whole time. But I won't say any much more. But we will find out on July 9th, 2021, Black Widow coming to theaters and Disney Premier Access for $30 extra on top of your Disney Plus membership. And I did talk to some friends that did Mulan and did Raya the Last Dragon. You get the digital access for 3 months. You get it for 90 days until it gets the official release. So for those of you who have never done Premier Access, like for example, Mulan came out in September in theaters limitedly because theaters hadn't reopened in most of America back in September, but it did get a theatrical release in parts of the United States. In China, it got a massive release. And I think other parts of the world, it got a release. But for the most part, it was a Disney Plus release. And people got the access to Mulan till like Christmas. And then Mulan, I think it was like the week of Christmas. Because I remember we watched Wonder Woman 84, Soul, and then we watched Mulan all on Christmas Day. So but yeah, so you're gonna get it for about 90 days. And I am definitely getting I'm debating on going to the theater. I want to go to the theater. I want to see it on the big screen, but at the same time, $30, I get it for 3 months. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna get digital. I'm getting Premier Access for Black Widow. So JR, I'm watching this trailer, right? Got Black Widow, right? They do the little title sequence, July 9th, 2021, and then they get right into, we just saw it a couple of weeks ago. We get some new footage, kind of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings coming out on September 3rd. And I honestly think we're going to see a lot more of Awkwafina than we really think we're going to get in this movie. I think she's going to be a massive character. There has been some toy releases that kind of spoil some things. I know that Funko released the Shang-Chi Funkos for pre-order. It may have given away some stuff. By the way, your boy, thank you, Target. Your boy got in on it. I got 3 Funkos coming to me in June, including Sam Captain America Wilson. Nice. I will have in June in costume with the shield. Looks badass. I also have Bucky coming with the Wakanda arm, which I didn't have in Funko. I do already have the dancing machine. Baron Zemo.
Nice.
But I also, there was a third one. I ordered 4 of them. I have 3 from Falcon and Winter Soldier. Which else ones do I have? Oh, US Agent. They did a US Agent Funko and it looks badass. Yeah. The 4th one I did get was from Justice League, the Snyder Cut. I did get the black suit Superman because I needed to get over $35 to get free shipping from Target. So those will be hitting me in June. There's a few other Funkos that got released, including Falcon with Red Wing coming out of his back. That's sold out. The Falcon with his wings out in his red suit from earlier in the series is sold out. And then there's one where his wings are straight out and he's kind of like in like turbo mode.
Yeah.
That one's also sold out in Funkos. So, but yeah, there were some there were some Shang-Chi Funkos that got released that Ruh-roh kind of spoiled some characters.
It always does that.
So
Yeah, Funko tends to do that anyway. Be like, I remember when I was still working at a place that shall not be named. I remember getting a bunch of Funko wins for like I think was it? I think yeah, Marvel movies, a couple Marvel movies. I think
they
for
have a tendency
Endgame.
to spoil it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I seen them in there in the suits. I'm like, oh okay, cool. Well, I know they're gonna be in suits now. So
Oh yeah. I remember that. There was the place in which you worked. Yeah, they caught some crap because they released the Avengers quantum suits, the time jump suits. That's right. Which kind of those were some badass suits. I don't know. It's kind of like that. But Jared, this was the part where I was like, I started to think, okay, they showed Black Widow, and they made a big point July 9th. And this is all about going back to the movies. This is the theme, going back to the movies. Then we see Shang-Chi, September 3rd, 2021. And in my head, I'm going, wait a minute. Are they going to do it? Are they going to? There's Selma Hayek as, I just forgot. Ajax. Is it not Ajax? That's freaking Francis.
You're talking about for the Eternals. It's Selma Hayek is playing. I'm looking back at the name right now. I'm just trying to figure out the casting. I should put
Ajax, Ajax.
Yeah.
So I was close. So we get to see the first look at the Eternals, which has a release date this year of November 5th. And hold on. My girl. Yeah, I've got my freaking Marvel shorts on. Sue me. But yeah, there's my girl, Angelina Jolie, in the flesh, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Thena. Dude, that scene right there. That's why I picked this title card.
Yes.
God bless her. Like,
our first tidbits of looking at Eternals, man, and with near full cast, because I think I didn't see Millie Bobby Brown in there. But yeah,
Millie Bobby Brown is in this.
Yeah, she's in it. Millie Bobby Brown's in it, man.
I don't see her on IMDb.
What
does she play?
If I remember correctly, Millie Bobby Brown's playing because I see. No, I think.
I think you're thinking of someone else. Leah McHugh is playing Sprite. That's one I could think of. Yeah, so it's a different character playing Sprite. But this movie does feature Angelina Jolie, the aforementioned Gemma Chan, which technically has already appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Captain Marvel 1, which we've talked about already, or which we will talk about. Selma Hayek, Richard Madden. We have Lauren Ridolph, Kumail Nanjiani,
which he's cool.
He's that again. We're gonna talk about him in just a second.
Yeah.
Brian Tyree Henry, Barry Keoghan, and then Ma Dong Seok, who of course plays Gilgamesh, which a lot of people are really excited to see because he's supposed to be like a giant. He's supposed to be a giant.
Yeah.
But the one character we did not see, and this was very disappointing for my wife. She is a fan of the Night Watch, and we did not see Dane Whitman, aka the Black Knight, aka Kit Harington, in this trailer. So if you're looking for a little Game of Thrones love, not going to get it here. Which, by the way, speaking of Game of Thrones, did you see who Marvel signed? Mother of Dragons, Emilia Clarke is coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe for Secret Invasions.
Okay,
that's right. I think she's playing herself, and she's secretly a Skrull. This whole time, Mother of Dragons was a mother freaking Skrull. No, Emilia Clarke, yes, is officially signed on what is setting up to be a very star-studded Secret Invasions. Of course, it's coming in 2022 or 2023. Can't remember. Either way, so I want to throw that in there. Little Game of Thrones. Hey, they're not working anymore. So, which, by the way, Game of Thrones trolled fans hard last week on Twitter to launch, of course, House of Dragons, which is the new spinoff series coming to HBO in 2023 or 2022. I apologize. But dude, the Eternals looks great.
Yeah.
Um,
And just to add on, it is, I totally forgot when we were talking about it last week, and we were kind of
I knew where you're going with this. Go ahead, say it.
Chloe Zhao
Zhao.
is definitely the one who just won Best Picture of Academy Awards for Nomadland, is the hit director for Eternals. And
Not
from
just
what
an
I'm
Academy Award winning director, but the director of an Academy Award winning film. It was Best Picture.
yeah.
So this is a sort of a double winner.
Yeah, and so like that shut me up real quick when I saw that. Like, oh yeah, I totally forgot she's in it. And she also been pushing for like on set, like, or like in location type places rather than on set green screens. And so
Yeah, that they were talking about
yeah,
that Chloe's style is very raw and
yeah,
very real. I know that sounds kind of vague, but she likes to be on location. She likes to be, you know who she reminds me of?
Hmm.
Quentin Tarantino.
Really.
She loves the really wide shots with just everything in it. And there's a great shot of the initial shot of Salma Hayek, and there's just
Oh yeah,
beautiful kind of countryside where she's on a horse. They've got this
yeah.
waving hills of grass, and then they show the beach shot of
Beach
all the
scene,
Eternals,
that
and
was
then
very
of course the
cool.
temple scene too, with this gigantic temple, which I think we're going to see more of. But she loves these grandiose shots, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of some of these big, huge cinescope shots that Quentin did in Inglorious Bastards, which I'm sure he did actually, but in
Which one?
the Hateful Eight.
Hmm.
No, it just kind of reminded me of that a little bit, and I know that she has her own style, which looks beautiful.
Yeah.
And
It's I'm definitely looking forward to it now. Specifically, it definitely looks like like I've seen her. I'm seeing her her current like run of films, and other than of course what she's well renowned now, obviously, but like just looking at her past history, songs my brother taught me, the writer, Nomadland, like it's looking like this is definitely a first for her, and she's taking this type of surreal um look. I can't say surreal look. This she's taken her style. I'll say that her style of acting, where before it's been very introspective with just with a singular character, or like really that close indie feel, and taking it now to a huge like full on big Marvel budget, and trying then to see if she kind of captures back of her magic of how she does film onto Eternals with freaking a full on star studded cast. Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, freaking Kit Harington, and supposedly rumors Millie Bobby Brown. From what I'm reading, supposedly she's in it, but they're not giving her a full on credit yet. But yeah, just like how do you have such an ensemble cast? How is she gonna tackle such a big ensemble cast? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
do you understand what the echelon that Chloe Zhao is in, and yet and the new kind of what's the word I'm looking for, um credibility and legitimacy she continues to bring
Hmm.
to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I was researching this earlier this week, and think about it, and I really thought about it today, especially after I kind of remembered that Chloe was directing this film.
Hmm.
Was how many Oscar nominees slash winners are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Hmm.
Let's look at let's
Mahershala
look
Ali.
let's look at no look at Iron Man 1 alone.
Hmm.
You have Robert Downey Jr.,
Yep.
Academy Award nominee multiple times over.
Yep.
Gwyneth Paltrow, Academy Award winner. Then you have what's his name? The guy that played Obadiah Stane,
Oh yeah.
Academy Award winner,
That's right.
or at least nominee. Technically, you want to talk about the original roadie, the original War Machine,
Terrence
which
Howard.
was what's his name?
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard, I
Yeah.
believe, was nominated
Something in Flow. Yeah.
for Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and Flow.
I know he was nominated. I don't remember if he won. Then you start thinking about it. Your girl, Kate Blanchett, Academy Award winner. You look at Thor alone. I think Kenneth Branagh was a Academy Award nominated director.
Yeah. Freaking, he just won. He just won Academy right now over Black Panther, just recently too. Played Odin.
Oh, there you go. Oh my gosh, yeah. Anthony Hopkins, Sir Anthony Hopkins. Won just recently. Won. Then you look at Chadwick Boseman, an Academy Award nominated actor. You look at director Ryan Coogler, I believe, has been nominated. I don't know if he was nominated for Black Panther or not.
Yeah, I think so.
But you look at Black Panther. What's her name?
Letitia
that plays Nakia.
Yeah.
Lupita Nyong'o, Academy Award nominee. Just the list goes on and on. You look at Angelina Jolie, Sir Ben Kingsley, Mark Ruffalo has been nominated. Mahershala Ali, Academy Award winner. Matter of fact, it was the day after his Academy Award that he wanted a meeting with Kevin Feige. And then you look at Christian Bale is joining Thor: Love and Thunder. Forrest Whitaker was in Black Panther. Natalie Portman won. Benicio del Toro. The list goes on. And now you add the legitimacy of a director who just recently won. You can't tell me that she went onto the set the next day and was like, and she wasn't motivated. To the point, I did not hear this personally, but I have read it on multiple sources that Kevin Feige congratulated Chloe Zhao, and shortly thereafter got to see some of the dailies, which I'm sure he sees daily, but he got to see some of the raw footage from the Eternals, and he has come out and said, though as successful as Black Panther was and got nominated for Best Picture, he has come out and said the Eternals could win Best Picture. He has thrown down the Academy Gauntlet. He is going after it with this movie. And after seeing what we saw today, it looks good. Just cinematography alone, they could win. But they got a damn good cast. And, like I said, we get the first look at a lot of our characters. I did want to talk to you about this. Going back to where's his name? The Kumail was it Kumail or Kumail? Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, I think so. He
I apologize.
The last couple of years, man. Yeah,
he has.
I'm butcher his name, sadly.
So he's playing a character by the name of Kingo. Now, in the comics, Kingo is Japanese. Of course, they're going a different route. They're going with the character to be Indian. And rather than him be a Japanese action star, like his alter ego is in the comic books, Kingo is an Indian Bollywood megastar. He's, I guess, a major star, and that's why you saw a bit in the trailer. He's kind of got that little Hollywood or Bollywood flair to him. He's got a little swagger. So I wanted to ask you, in this day and age of whitewashing and cultural misappropriation or whatever the hell you want to call it, does it go both ways? Now you have a guy who is playing a Japanese character who is Indian. Now I know it's along the lines of Carly Morgenthau, who was playing a gender bender version of Carl Morgenthau, the Flag Smasher from the comics. They played the female version. What do you think of Kingo? Again, normally a Japanese character, now being played by an Indian actor.
I'm kind of, for me particularly, I'm kind of like, I'm on the fence for it for like a couple of things. One, I love, I love the actor. He's cool. He came out with a film called, I think, Date Night. I saw it came out on Netflix, and or Date something, where it was super hilarious film he was in, and as well as other stuff too in the past. And like, it's just it's a weird line for me, particularly because we definitely need more, more. He's technically Asian because India falls in that line of Asian.
It is, yeah.
Right. It's just more so like specifically the character that he plays was originally a Japanese character. it's multifaceted in the sense because like one, I will look at Chloe Zhao like, okay, what was the reason for that? There has to be a really good reason for it, and more so, I'll wait till the movie is over to have an opinion about that. Like actually, you know, with me, like my biggest thing is like if you have a specific choice just to deviate from the source material, it has to make sense. Period. It
Yeah.
has to make sense. Let's
And
say let's say his version or this version of Eternals, right? He landed back in what it. I think because the Eternals originally was supposed to be like an old race where they went to Earth 13,000 years ago, I think, right?
and I
And
think we're
then
going to see that. I think we
yeah,
are going to see that story told.
and like if his character specifically landed in India and was living in that world, you know, have the story play out that way. As long as the story makes sense, I'm cool with it. It's just that when you deviate it, to a certain form to fit, I don't know, whatever narrative, a la, Birds of Prey with my girl Cassandra Cain, right? And doesn't really fucking make sense and takes away from the character, that's when I have a problem with it. For him specifically, it just needs to make sense. It
And
has to make sense, and it has to like are they doing it because they want to get the Indian crowd, right?
bingo.
From India? Is it that reason? But at the same time, like we need more of those actors because he is definitely fucking verified. He's awesome. He has great comedic timing, and he's really, really, really freaking good, right?
And yeah, and I think that too is the character is kind of this, like JR said, the Eternals we're going to find out
Yeah.
were landed on Earth thousands of years ago and have grown up quietly
Yeah.
amongst us as, for the lack of a better terms, humans.
Yeah. Like
And the character of Kingo grows up to be a massive. I mean, he's a megastar
hmm,
in his home country, and I don't think you have to have the character be Japanese for him to portray the character he needs to portray.
yeah.
Um,
It's
and like you
it's
said, it is
yeah.
still technically Asian.
Yeah, it's
Um,
called acting for a reason. Like you act. You're supposed to be whoever you need to be for the role. Granted, you should have the storyline should always formulate around that. If you make a casting call, you have to have really good freaking. You gotta give a really good reason why too. That's my biggest thing. And we'll see how this goes. People already know how I feel about Shang-Chi and how I feel like that's just a fucking, that's a thing to throw into the Chinese market. I get that. I understand that. They're gonna be the second biggest freaking thing around. Biggest market around. I understand that. It's just more so now for me, my problem was that like, okay, Chloe Zhao, you are now an Academy Award winning director on multiple iterations, right?
yeah,
There is no other Asian representation other than that is a East Asian representation in
and
your film.
I think too,
Mm,
you look at the cast. Let's look at it. You have Angelina Jolie. She's
yeah.
white.
Mm.
Okay. You have
Richard
Selma Hayek.
Madden. Yeah. So,
You have Selma Hayek,
yeah.
who is Hispanic. It could
Mm,
be Spain, Mexico, wherever you want to be.
yeah.
You do have other characters that are English.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do know that Kit Harington is playing the Black Knight. We don't know if I don't think in the comics. I don't think he's an Eternal. I think
Yeah.
he's just a character. But you
Yeah.
have different
Yeah.
races.
Yeah. We have Gemma Chan's in it, and
And
that's
you have
again. I'm not trying to take anything away from her, but like if you were talking about,
you
you
have
know,
the token races. You have every race is represented. And I don't mean to be sound racist, but it's like you kind of had
yeah.
all your bases covered with all the
Mm,
different. It is a mixed bag of characters.
yeah. It's well, I take that back. I'm just gonna walk this back a little bit, specifically on the tenth race because I just fucking remember they got my boy Mang Dong Suk, who is Korean American or who's Korean, and he was in freaking Train to Busan. I totally forgot about that. Slip of mine. I'm gonna blame that on
That's
COVID. I'm gonna
Gilgamesh.
blame. Yeah, Gilgamesh. I'm gonna blame that on COVID fog. And Gilgamesh, if it's the original fucking Gilgamesh, of course, he is the Mesopotamian god. I'm gonna roll this back, but more so on like if we're talking in the terms of like having some type of reverse whitewashing, again, it needs to make sense. period. Because we have if we
Yeah,
have
exactly.
Gilgamesh, because Gilgamesh specifically in Mesopotamian era, or if he's is seen as Mesopotamian god, is supposed to be, I think, Iranian, right? And we have a very Asian actor playing a possible Mesopotamian god in Gilgamesh. So again, it has to make sense for me. And now all this can be alleviated with just the story that that Chloe's gonna tell, or that the story of the Eternals, right? And also can be alleviated by one giving, if Kevin Feige just sets the world ablaze and says, "All right, cool, we'll give you guys Agents of Atlas for the Asian community." That's
I
it.
I, I really think that's going to happen. I
Yeah.
think you have all the characters are lining up. We talk about it every week. I think it's
Mm,
inevitable that that's going to end up being a Disney Plus show.
mm,
You do have Echo. You have Agent Jimmy Woo, just to name a few. No, I didn't mean for that to rhyme. But I think it's a far gone conclusion that Agents of Atlas will take place. I bet you it's a Disney Plus show. It may not be next year. It may not be the year after.
yeah.
It may be Phase 5. Who knows?
No,
But
that.
nonetheless, I think that Agents of Atlas is going to happen. So yeah, we see the title. We see the Eternals. We get quite a bit. I think we are very very close. Maybe a month away. Maybe we see it right around. You know what? I bet you we're inside of a month because I bet you I know where we get the Eternals trailer.
Okay.
The NBA Finals. We're about a month away from the beginning of the NBA Finals. I know the ABC has the rights, at least for one more year, to the NBA Finals. They have used the NBA playoffs, the NBA Finals, to release trailers because, of course, Disney's own or ABC is owned by Disney,
Mm-hmm.
and which of course owns Marvel. And it's a huge audience. It's a dwindling audience, but it's still a huge audience.
Mm,
And I don't see there being any other big audience. Now we do know that I believe Marvel or maybe it was something was being released on the NBA. Maybe it was the TNT broadcast, but they were releasing some kind of footage during the NBA. So they know that sports can launch something. So I bet you we see an Eternals trailer in the next, I'd say the next 30 to 45 days.
mm,
It could be
yeah.
right around the launch of Loki, which we see in June on June 11th.
Mm,
So who knows? I think we are very close to a full-fledged trailer from the Eternals. Now, I do know that Spider-Man Far From Home has not wrapped. They have a December uh they have a December 17th, 2021 deadline to hit, and that was the next movie we saw in the title sequence. I will admit
mm,
I was severely let down for a half a second when that title sequence came up. Of course, we see the Eternals. It says November 5th, 2021, and then it continues with this grand Marvel theme playing in the background, which was just right there in the feels. And this is where it went from the feels to holy shit, like Eternals, and
mm.
then we see Spider-Man No Way Home, December 17th, 2021. Boom, right into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now, we mentioned before that Morbius moved from early January to late January. And I said, well, maybe that's going to be a problem because it's very close to the Multiverse of Madness, which I believe was originally set for a February release. It is official March 25th. So it's going to be a late March release next year for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Again, we know that Benedict Cumberbatch is going to return. We do know that this will be the debut of America Chavez. And we
Mhm.
do know that it's a possibility that Wanda Maximoff herself, the Scarlet Witch, will be or
Oh, yeah.
well, I gotta imagine the bets are on that she is going to be
Yeah.
at least an antagonist, if not the main villain in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And God knows what else is going to happen. I mean, she's gonna. It's right there in the title sequence. She's gonna open up the multiverse,
Yeah.
and Lord knows what comes through there. I still think it's gonna be Hydra Cap. I think we're gonna see Hydra Cap.
It's all bets are off when that movie comes out. All bets are
Oh,
off. Like,
absolutely.
and like just for just for timeline's sake, like we'll see exactly what after that comes after this, right? After this movie, it's supposed to be the timeline of Sony's Morbius, and of course, like you said before, all things that come from that. And so, yeah, all bets are off. I'm willing to uh I'm willing to be open to the idea of possible evil iterations of our beloved characters
Yeah, it's a
to
possibility.
make their headway, or just or at least I'm hoping to see some big reveals. Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Like some huge freaking
And I
reveals.
hope they don't release too much in the trailers. I know that we
Yeah.
saw in the Captain America Civil War trailer, we saw the Spider-Man reveal.
Hmm.
And I kind of almost wish they didn't do that, but I know why they had to. Um, but I almost kind of wish they didn't, and they left that for like, dude, did you see Civil War? Like, I went and saw it on Friday night. And they had Spider-Man. Like, do it that way rather than do the trailer reveal.
Yeah.
Sorry, but no. So anyway, so we saw that Spider-Man No Way Home, then Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, the two multiverse movies that we're going to see back to back, and then the winner for best title sequence of the day goes to my boy Taika Waititi and his follow-up to Thor Ragnarok, Thor
Yep.
Love and Thunder, which
Mm-hmm.
looks like it was ripped straight from a Def Leppard cover art, or maybe it was not Def Leppard, but maybe it was Iron Maiden.
Mm.
We do know that set photos have come out and shown that Thor will be dressing up as a alternate version of himself from the comic books. I think was called Thunderstrike, which is he wears the some strange pants and a vest and some short sleeves. Of course, you talk about Suns Out, Guns Out with Chris
Mm.
Hemsworth.
Yeah.
And of course, we are going to see some of the as Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to see Star Lord, and I think Star Lord.
Alternate versions Zoe Saldana.
Yes, they're on the hunt for. I think part of Thor: Love and Thunder, and of course part of Guardians 3, is going to be the search for Gamora, which of course is the alternate version of Gamora. So, yeah, nonetheless, Thor: Love and Thunder, of course, comes out on May 6th, 2022. Features Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, Karen Gillan, Chris Pratt, and Christian Bale, and just announced is going to be, and I just forgot his name, son of a bitch. I think it's another Academy Award winner. Actually, I think he did win for Gladiator. And that is that Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe?
Who's the guy that was in Gladiator?
Yeah, it was Russell Crowe. It's Russell Crowe.
He is going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
Playing Zeus.
That's right. That's right.
So
you know what that means? If Zeus is in it, Greek pantheon, baby. That means Hercules is in. It's coming soon.
Which means books like a book that I bought my wife for $40 from Sid just went up 10 times. Just to bring it up, I think real quick, I was gonna talk about that this week. There is a Thor book. I have to look it up. I don't have time.
Is it the Thor book? Is it the Thor book where like he's like face palming Thor? Where Hercules is face palming Thor and he's talking to Natalie Portman or to Jane Foster? I think I have that book.
Let me see what it is. It's been absolutely on the rise. I'll have to find it. Damn it. But yeah, it was a trending book on the Key Collector this past week, and I bought it just recently. It was Thor 129. It is the first appearance of Ares, the Greek god of war. Of course, Ares is very much a DC character. First appearance of Hermes, Greek god, Greek messenger of God. First appearance of Hirokin, and I believe it was a battle between Zeus, Hercules, and Thor on the cover. I don't know if you can see it, but I think it's again Thor 129. I just recently bought it for my wife. A high grade is going for $400. Speculation that Ares will appear in Thor: Love and Thunder and or on a team. So there's a possibility that not just Russell Crowe's Zeus or Hercules. I don't know. I can't remember which one they said he's gonna play, but we could see almost all the gods show up in this, which is really strange because you're talking about Zeus and Hercules are Greek gods, and Thor and Odin and Loki are all and are all Norse gods. So we're going to see a little crossover. So you talk about a massive crossover event, the gods. So I don't know. Is it? I always wonder about this with Marvel, because they do have Thor, which of course is based on not real life, but a real
the mythology,
the Norse mythology.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have Hercules in comic book form. Most recently, I believe actually has come out as a bisexual character in the comic books. Is Hercules, is the legend, is the Greek mythology of Hercules, what do they call that? Not public property, public domain.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that's what I kind of figured. But
a lot of the I guess the pantheons, right, of god, the god pantheons of the world are within the Marvel universe. That's the thing, like because of how vast and how long the Marvel universe has been in. Yeah, we have a lot, like all the Greek pantheon is in Marvel as well as DC. All of the what's it called? Yeah, I guess the Viking pantheon. I guess I'm like a better term, the Viking pantheon are in Marvel. I think also in DC as well. They're also talking about the pantheon that includes that the Hindu gods are in it as well. And so you see a lot of gods basically in Marvel anyway. And so whatever writer of the time decided to add those in, like, yeah, it's all gonna be public. It's all gonna be public domain, and you can always write a book about gods in whatever type of fiction you want to write. It's just that it's never gonna be contested unless someone's a dick and really wants to buy the IPs of gods. So there's Hercules is also in DC. Of course, we've seen him in Wonder Woman. We've seen him. I've read about him in Wonder Woman. I've read about him in other titles that feature Wonder Woman in it. We've seen Ares in Wonder Woman, of course, and we've seen him we've seen him in the movies. So yeah, the Greek pantheons from other godhoods per se, like it's not a new thing. So I wouldn't mind seeing Hindu gods in the MCU soon, especially when we have the Eternals coming out. So maybe. So
well, we are going to see a quote unquote, an Indian Eternal in the form of the aforementioned I can't think of his name now.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah. So, anyways, moving right along. So we title sequence May 6th, 2022. I know that my wife is excited for Thor: Love and Thunder. Of course, we are going to see a multitude of things. Like you said, we saw Gore the God Butcher, played by the incomparable Christian Bale, who, by the way, not done despite his fate or whatever it could be, both positive and negatively in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Thor Love and Thunder. He's not done playing comic book characters. Side note, it is rumored that Christian Bale will be putting the cowl and cape back on once again as the actual Nolanverse version of the Dark Knight. It will become canon as a part of the DC multiverse, as Flashpoint movie will incorporate not only the Michael Keaton Batman from 1989, it will factor in the Christian Bale Dark Knight from the Dark Knight trilogy and the Nolanverse. So super excited about that, especially considering that the Nolanverse was it was this close to being official DCEU canon when Christopher Nolan signed on to be a producer of the Man of Steel, and that when they were going to do Batman versus Superman, which is the follow-up to Man of Steel, it was going to be an aging Christian Bale, like we saw in Dark Knight Rises. He was going to be even more falling. He was going to be retired, and he was going to be with Selena Kyle on a catamaran somewhere in the Mediterranean. and then he gets brought back in, and that's why that's why Ben Affleck's version of Batman in that movie is older. They make reference to, like, he's been gone for a while, like he almost was a myth. But Bruce Wayne was very much still in the forefront. So yeah, it was talk that Christian Bale's Batman was going to be the Batman, but we're going to see it finally. So he'll be in an alternate universe, and Christian Bale not done suiting up as a superhero. So can't wait for that. That's again just a rumor, but it's a strong rumor considering what Flashpoint possibly could have. Back to Marvel, we see Thor: Love and Thunder, and then the next big surprise since the Eternals. We see the official title treatment for Black Panther 2, and this is where it got emotional. For me, I'm a sap. I cry over the stuff. I got a little weepy at work watching this for the third time. It's called Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and we know this despite online petitions to the contrary. Kevin Feige has said he will not recast T'Challa. Chadwick Boseman will and forever be known as King T'Challa, at least in this universe, and will die. So he will die a king, possibly in Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. But yeah, that was kind of like a whoa. And I've seen a lot of the reaction videos today that a lot of people kind of got hit right there in the feels, because that was, for the last few years, that's been our thing, Wakanda Forever. We've adopted that. I know that that's become kind of the nerd signal. Star Wars geeks have May the Force be with you. Trekkies have Live Long and Prosper. And Marvel fanboys, we finally got something. And I know that primarily the Wakanda Forever has been kind of a calling sign for the African American pop culture nerd kind of realm. They're like, Black people finally say, like, we have something to of our own. But I think that a lot of people have said, you know what, no, that's King T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman, kind of meant a lot to all of us. Doesn't matter what race, doesn't matter what creed, doesn't matter what sexual orientation, doesn't matter what religious beliefs. That Chadwick Boseman's version of T'Challa means a lot to everybody that believes in this Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I think Wakanda Forever is kind of like, I think it's everything. It's our universal calling card that you're a nerd, and having that be the title sequence for Black Panther 2, which was funny because when I saw it at first, I was like, whoa, I thought it was the Kingdom of Wakanda, which is the rumored title for the Disney Plus show that Ryan Coogler's doing. But no, that is officially the name for Black Panther 2 is Wakanda Forever. And like JR said in our notes, mum's the word on casting. You're absolutely right. There is nothing said about this movie so far. They have no confirmation that even Shuri's coming back. But I gotta imagine everybody's coming back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's it's definitely gonna be interesting casting, specifically, it's gonna be interesting development cycle for them specifically, because they're supposed to come out July 8th. They have about almost a year now. I'm pretty sure, well over a year, and it's interesting in the sense of, like, it took them 2 years to do Black Panther 1, right? About 2 years, and great. And with one, the sad passing of the one, the only King T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman. How are they going to tackle this? That's my question. Like, how are they going to tackle this? How are they going to try to formulate a plan or formulate a story which structures around the possible passing away or handing of the torch of Black Panther to another? And I know we've asked this question before. How is Ryan Coogler going to do this? How is he able to process this too? Because I know that he and Chadwick were friends, were good friends around, throughout this whole run and just everything. And so how is he going to do poetic justice in the sense to King T'Challa, as well as trying to push the story of Wakanda forward into however long he needs it to be, however long we need it to be. And so it's going to be interesting. I just want to clarify that it's going to be an interesting ride along the way. I'm going to rock it no matter what. And that I just want to see, I want to see a vision where I'm going to miss King T'Challa, but at the same time, I'm happy for the future type of thing.
And it is unofficially on IMDb lists Angela Bassett, Martin Freeman, Danae Guerrera, Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, and Letitia Wright are all scheduled to return. It is also said that the possibility of handling King T'Challa's death in the Marvel Cinematic Universe will be using cutting room floor footage from both Black Panther 1, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame to fill in the gaps to give King T'Challa his Endgame. But it has been said that yes, Ryan Coogler had to rewrite the script. Black Panther 2 was greenlit almost immediately, and Ryan Coogler went right into the writer's room and began working on this project, amongst other things he's been doing over the last few years. But he really enjoyed doing this project, and he wanted to sink his teeth into it with the sequel, and he had to completely redo the script, and that was just in the last 10 months since Chadwick passed away. And some people that have said they've read the script said it's phenomenal, and it will pay off. There will be a payoff. So I'm excited about this one. This was a moment in this, for the lack of a better term, trailer, that just seeing a title sequence was very emotional. I know we saw early on in the trailer, part of the sizzle reel, we see Chadwick Boseman in the battle for Wakanda in Infinity War, where he just, he stands up on the hill alongside Captain America, the White Wolf, aka the Winter Soldier, aka Bucky Barnes, and he just does the helmet, come on, Wakanda forever, and they go right after Thanos. That's been that moment has been his war cry. And so we did get a little bit of Chadwick, but we got no footage, obviously, because it hasn't even been in pre-production, but it is scheduled for a July 8th 2022 release. Now, we're not even done yet. Let me refresh real quick. 2021 2021 Black Widow, Shang-Chi, The Eternals, Spider-Man. That's right, before New Year's Eve this year, and we just hit May. 4 Marvel movies plus Loki plus What If and possibly plus Hawkeye. It is going to be a busy 2021. Now we're into 2022. What do we got? Doctor Strange 2, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Panther. We're in July and we already have 3 movies. Are we going for the quartet of movies in 2022? Your answer, yes. And we get our next big surprise in this trailer from Marvel today, coming November 11th, 2022. What was originally known as Captain Marvel 2, not anymore. It's simply called The Marvels. That's right. We're going to have not 1, not 2, but possibly 3 Captain Marvels, or 3 Marvels in this Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. It is starring Brie Larson, Teyonah Parris, and Iman Vellani. Now, Iman Vellani, if you don't know who she is, it's Kamala Khan, if I'm not mistaken, an American Pakistani,
Canadian.
Canadian Pakistani, essentially the same as her counterpart. I know that Kamala in the comic is American from New Jersey of Pakistani descent. But obviously, with Teyonah Parris coming back, that is, of course, Monica Rambeau. In the comic books, she attains the title of Captain Marvel prior to Carol Danvers by, I think, by one or two reigns, I guess you'd say. But it is expected that Monica Rambeau is not going to take on the title of Captain Marvel, that she will take on the the title of either Photon or Spectrum.
Which
I think she's gonna be Photon, and just kind of is
either
going to
one
be
is either one is fine for her, and I was hoping for more of her mother. I forgot the actress's name, but I was hoping more for her.
Yeah, so was I.
Because she was freaking amazing in Captain Marvel. Let's be freaking honest about it. She was awesome in Captain Marvel. But granted, of course, we have Monica Rambeau's daughter. We have Monica Rambeau now, and so I'm cool with it. It's fine. I'm cool whatever she is going to play. I just want to see, okay. So we have the initial core team, right? Marvels right now. Who else? How is that going to expand out more? Are we going to see more of Captain Marvel's team in space? Are we going to see more of that? Are we going to see more of Sword? Are we going to see more? How are we going to deviate and have
That's a good point.
Mala in California? Not California, in New York. How is that? How is that going to deviate? There's a lot to world build around just this one movie because of how much
agreed.
They're putting in.
So I just thought about this. So you have Kamala Khan, who's based in New Jersey.
No, New York.
New York. Well, she's
New Jersey.
No, she's Jersey City. I thought she was Jersey City.
Because okay, that's right. Because when she was with Champions and when she was with she
moves into New York, but her family's in Jersey City, I think.
Because when she was with the Inhumans, the Inhumans I think are rarely in New York.
And so you're right. And see, I caught up with her in her Champions run, and actually in her all new, all different Avengers run back in 2016. But she doesn't visit her family as much in the all new, all different. I think when she gets kicked out of the Avengers, she goes back and moves in with her family, but we don't pick up that storyline until I think Champions #1. But I just thought about this, JR.
Yeah.
Go with me on this one. Who is one of Kamala Khan's best friends in the comic book right now?
Right now? Are you talking about Amadeus?
No. We're talking about freaking Spider-Man. We're talking about Miles Morales, one of the founding members of Champions, and one of the if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. No, he was in the Avengers, the all new, all different Avengers with Kamala when they're kicked out, if I'm not mistaken, because it was post Secret War. That maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was him and Nova, her and Nova, but nonetheless,
I know that it's supposed to be Viv. No, not Viv. Viv came out.
God, that would be great. Oh, I want them to do Viv. I know it won't happen for a while, but
if they do Viv, that'd be crazy. But I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be in there.
You would have had to have done Viv in WandaVision, but them doing the twins was a better idea.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, anyways, go back to the Marvels. Obviously, the title sequence has the S, like we saw in Captain Marvel. I'm sorry, in Miss Marvel, the S in Miss, which is kind of her. It looks like her sash that she wears. Again, I'll try to post the costume, the leak photo on our Instagram page at PS Comics I Love You on Instagram. But again, that costume looks fantastic, and
it does.
Again, we don't know where Miss Marvel takes place in the timeline. We don't know how they're going to handle her origin story. Are they going to acknowledge that she's an Inhuman? What's going to happen? What's going to go on? I think that they should. I think they should just nip it in the butt in the Marvel show, the Disney Plus show, and say that she's an Inhuman. Are they going to show her going through Terrigenesis? Who knows?
There's a lot of questions that need to be asked. That because of just the amount of world building. It's also interesting too, if I remember correctly. I think the Marvels, right? The Marvels is like. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the second movie of its franchise that has another origin story.
What do you mean?
Like that's something like remember because if you see this other series within the Marvel runs, right? Captain America had Bucky and wait, no that wasn't even his origin story for I forgot his name for Falcon too. No, Bucky was in it and Steve was in the first ones, right? That's technically their origin story. We didn't necessarily have an origin story, not really, with Falcon and two.
With Sam, no, we didn't.
No, with Sam, not really. And when we go back to even Iron Man series, no, that's for the first one was just the origin story. For me, the Marvels, right? It's technically Captain Marvel 2, right? And we have
Yes.
we have Brie Larson, and we have Captain Marvel, Cara Danvers origin story in the first one. Now we have a second origin story in her second movie with possibly with Miss Marvel or with Kamala Khan now.
Well, no, I mean it's been announced that Kamala Khan will appear as Miss Marvel. Does she play the protege? You know, how do they meet?
Yeah.
But I also have to take into consideration, and I have to rewatch it because I'm one of those guys.
Yeah. And also, I have to say too, is it before or after her series?
I believe it will be after her series because this is coming out in November of 2022.
Okay, so that's my that most likely.
You know what it could be. Now I look at it, it could be right after her series because the way production is lining up. Miss Marvel is in production right now.
Yeah.
But they have so much content that's coming out on Disney Plus that what's to say, you know, where things are. We do know this much, that Hawkeye most likely is going to see a fall release for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tight. If it doesn't happen at the end of the summer, because we do know this much from here on out, we're going to see the Marvel Disney Plus shows done in the format of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and that is 6 1-hour shows. Loki comes out in June. Right after Loki, we get season 1 of What If. We do not get the full 20 episodes like Disney had planned. We're going to get, I think, like they said, we're probably going to get about between 6 and 8. So we may, I don't know. We may get 10. Actually, I tell you what, we're supposed to get, I tell you what, we're going to get 10, I think, this summer. Which could take us to the end. If they do the release once a week on a Friday, we would see this run through summer. If they do What If that way, which means don't have a lot of time in the fall to get Hawkeye out, because think about it, they have 2 Star Wars shows that have to get out in the late fall and Christmas time. They have to get out Mandalorian season 3, and they have to get out the Book of Boba Fett. All are supposed to be out by Disney by December of next year. So
that's right.
And remember, the Disney Plus formula is they do not like to overlap the major tentpole shows. So if you start piecing things together, maybe they move Hawkeye to early 2022. What else is in production? Miss Marvel's in production. She-Hulk is in production.
Right. Also another one too was announced.
I gotta imagine Moon Knight is going to be in production here pretty soon.
Yeah, that's right. Riri as well. Ironheart.
Riri is in pre-production. They just, so yeah, there's a lot going on. But I gotta imagine, Jared, I think you're right. I think we're going to see Miss Marvel right into the Marvels.
If that's the case, then yeah, that answers my question. That like, okay, well, she'll have her origin story there because
her origin story, I think, is going to happen in the Disney Plus show.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, because they still haven't fully announced with just this new information, like when, you know, Miss Marvel is coming out per se, or even the other ones too. Like,
COVID really screwed things up.
I mean, it's interesting. It sucks, but it's cool at the same time. Like, we have silver linings. Like, cool. I wouldn't have known if some of these shows would have been successful because of COVID, right? I don't know if let's say alternate reality COVID didn't happen, would Disney Plus be as big as it is today? You know, because even when it wasn't COVID, when it came out, it was still okay. You know, it had some stuff in there. You've told me before that, you know, it was definitely needed more content.
A lot of the streaming services really struggled, and then I think that they flourished in the
COVID-verse.
In the COVID-verse. I think that one of the sort of looking for, you know, they still to this day say that HBO Max has been a failure of a streaming service, and I really disagree. I mean, they've got a fantastic
they've solid
catalog of movies even outside. People want that. They're so surface driven.
Yeah.
You got to dig deep, people. I mean, sidebar real quick. I listened to a podcast last week of Doug Ellis, who is the co-creator and showrunner for the show Entourage on HBO, which, by the way, I love it. It's funny. Could that show, the way it was made, be made today? Absolutely friggin' not. It could not be made. It's so funny that show was made just about 15 years ago. But and Doug Ellis even said that it's questionable whether or not that show can be made.
Yeah.
But he bitched about the fact that HBO Max, because it's a little edgy and there's some language and some things that they talk about, especially in the early seasons that were filmed in the early 2000s, late 90s, like The Sopranos. Actually, it was right around the tail end of The Sopranos. That because of the quote edginess to the show early on, that HBO Max purposely buried it. And he said that he found the show buried in a category on HBO Max that it doesn't belong in. It's a comedy. It belongs in comedy. And he said he was found in like Westerns. It was like, what? And I guess HBO was like, oh no, do you know what? We hit the wrong button when we loaded it on the, and it's like, no, they were purposely trying to bury the show. And I think that's the problem that HBO Max is having. Just a sidebar here on the streaming services, is I think that they are in some cases a victim of their own doing and their own marketing. Like HBO, none of these streaming, I was one of those guys, you and I both were these guys a year and a half ago, like, oh God, another streaming service. Like,
easily.
why can't they all just get along? But if you, that aside, you take Peacock, you take Paramount Plus, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu,
all the other ones, yeah.
All the other ones, even, you know what, even ESPN Plus, which has put out some great original content, and Apple TV Plus. You know, I tallied it up. I'm spending about $90 a month in streaming services. Now I have some deals in place that I don't necessarily, but I mean, down averaged out, that's about how much I'm paying per month. Still $100 a month less than I would be paying, probably even more, almost $200 less than I would be paying for cable, by the way.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, yeah, would it be great to have them all under one umbrella of Netflix like we did 10 years ago? Yeah, but I think that now that I think about it, and yeah, okay, it's a little extra money, you got to pay this, but they've been relatively good about the pricing. I know that Disney Plus went up, HBO Max starts off at 15, Peacock starts off at about 6 or 7. Which, by the way, Peacock Premium, do the 1-year plan. If you're a sports fan, totally worth it. You get the English Premier League soccer, and some other things. I think they're gonna get
go tangent.
So, anyways, real quick, looking back at it, I think that these different platforms, like JR said, like with Invincible on Amazon Prime, you've allowed cream to rise to the top. Stuff that wouldn't get noticed, not that stuff that would get buried on Netflix, stuff that would get buried on Hulu. I think you've now allowed it on Amazon Prime and Disney Plus. So, anyways,
just going back to the point.
Go back to the Marvels.
The Marvel thing. Just going back to the original point, Marvel. Like, it wouldn't. Yeah, because of coronavirus, right? The one that's silver lining is that we see the rise of now people just want to stay home and watch movies, and it's a good and a bad. It's definitely a double-edged sword in that sense. We talked about it before, and so I feel like a lot of these movies now are coinciding, specifically with Marvel, are coinciding with their other, with their secondary, stream only type of themes, and that's fine. That's a great way to just continue a story, right, for us fans. That's a great way to continue a story, like we said before, and I feel if it wasn't for coronavirus or for COVID or if the shutdown happening, we wouldn't have, a lot of these services wouldn't be as big today. We wouldn't have a huge market. There is definitely a huge market for it now, specifically.
Absolutely.
And that, like, it's definitely a cheaper option than cable. But with that said, my guy,
and real quick,
Yeah.
real quick. And I thought about this from a comic book standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay. We collect comics.
Okay.
We collect comic series. We collect, for example, even though we haven't seen them yet in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I'll
Okay.
use because it's an easy explanation. We have a run like the Uncanny X-Men, been around since the 1960s, hundreds of issues, legacy issues long. I think we're in like the 600s or 700s. But along the line of these comic book series, you have events, you have tentpole events, you have a Days of Future Past, you have a Dark Phoenix saga, you have whatever, you have they did it. And so looking back at it, and Marvel may want to think about doing this, is your TV, do more TV shows. Let the characters breathe a little bit more. Let them develop. Tell these storylines. That doesn't need to be these big tent pole events. And then you can go into and you can do an Iron Man, just use for example. Say you do an Iron Man series, and then you go Iron Man 1, Demon in a Bottle, or you do Iron Man 2, The Rise of AIM, or something like that. And you do a storyline, a story. And who did this very well was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I think it's like season 5, or I think it was like season 4 or 5. They did that. Here's the whole series telling an overarching story, continuing the story of these characters. But then they did Ghost Rider, they did LMD, and they did Agents of Hydra, which were little mini storylines within the greater Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So if you had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series 1 issues, blah, 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 that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's maybe that, like you said, to go along with
the only other franchise I see do that too was actually Star Trek, where they
exactly
storyline on show, in the show, and then they would do the big tempo movie, and so that's the only that's probably a good model to go after specifically for Marvel with their their ever expanding universe, and with the context of their ever expanding universe, man, and how the fact that it continues to grow. We have another one, Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania, coming out.
Yes, this one I know my son is excited about. Ant-Man is his favorite character from the Marvel Universe. But this is interesting because we're going to explore the quantum realm once again, the possibility of time travel. We do know that Kang the Conqueror, the Time Conqueror, will be in this movie. We don't know yet, for those of you who are looking deep into the rich history of Kang the Conqueror. Yes, I think a version in one of the universes that Kang is the future son of Reed Richards.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah,
and some people are saying that, oh my gosh, like that's the character. All they have said is that Kang the Conqueror is going to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It does not. That's all it says, and that is actually the name is not on your rundown here.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, for the lack of, again, just nip it in the bud, just rip the Band-Aid off, is the actor who is playing King the Conqueror is a black man. So people are instantly going, well, that just showed Marvel's hand that Reed Richards in the new Fantastic Four movie is going to be black. Not necessarily. We don't know what version of King the Conqueror is going to be played. If I'm not, again, Jerry, this is where your expertise come in. I believe that there is a version of King the Conqueror in one of the storylines in the Marvel universe, the comic book universe, that he is Reed Richards' son.
I think so. Yeah, it's a weird one-off thing.
He's a weird character.
Yeah, the weird Jonathan Majors is the actor, of course, who's playing.
That's it.
And but yeah, that was just like, well, not a what if storyline, but like it dealt with the fact that one. Okay, so this is gonna go into comic book territory. One,
right ahead, my friend.
There is a coalition of Reed Richards throughout the entirety of throughout the entirety of the multiverse that comes together, and I guess they kind of just brainstorm, right? And they're trying to be because they're technically the smartest individuals in that universe, right?
Yes, Reed Richards is considered to be the
smartest.
brain of brains in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, he has seen. It's been said multiple times that he's seen many gods, and he doesn't call them gods. He's like, oh, they're just people with they're just people with superpowers. Like he saw Zeus and he saw all these other celestials. Like, no, they're just aliens or beings that have superpowers. And so he is by definition the smartest individual. He's the smartest person in the universe, and in every reality he's that person still. And so there's a particular coalition of Reed Richards that come together, and I think one of them is a King Conqueror's father. I just don't remember which one it is necessarily. It's a one-off type of thing, and people are going for that, and people are saying that people are trying to be the woke people, like, oh yeah, that's something, Reed Richards gonna be black. Like, not necessarily. It's we have to understand again which way is the director gonna go for this, and again, Fantastic Four hasn't even been, there isn't anything in pre-production yet that we know of. All we got is going to be at the end of this draft we're going to go through. Just that for right now, the way that Marvel has been casting their actors and actresses, I would not be surprised. And one, their casting is always going to be deliberate. Period. So like King the Conqueror being, if anyone sees King the Conqueror, right, like he actually sees the character. He wears a green suit and has a blue face. Period.
So you don't even see a quote race. It's just it just happens to be a black guy who's playing him, and if he's the best, if Jonathan Majors is the best character, and I saw Boss Logic did a kind of a fan art of Jonathan Majors as King the Conqueror. I'm like, dude, works. I've seen King in multiple Avengers books, and it works.
Yeah, you won't like it's. If anything, his physique fits him. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Jonathan Majors
King's kind of a big dude.
Fits, yeah. Jonathan Majors' physique fits King the Conqueror. I'm looking at that standpoint. Like, you won't see the dude's face, or you won't see his skin color. Not necessarily if they really go full on.
Oh my god, he just looks like a bad mother.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, like, that is a bad mother right there. That dude will screw some people up. He's swole, but he's got this. There's a picture of him that's from People Magazine. That's on his IMDb page. So if you go to imdb.com and look up Jonathan Majors, his main photo, he just looks like an
athlete. Yeah,
but he looks like he comes across kind of as this cocky little shit, and that's kind of what King the Conqueror is. King the Conqueror is a dick. He's a dick character.
It's like
it's gonna be good.
People are paying way too much attention on certain things. On
sorry,
things
Siri was yelling at me.
Yeah, we don't have some problems, bro. I'm about to drive over there in my caffeine deprived ass, but no, but like
I'm 2 beers in, so yeah.
People are just paying attention to the wrong things in this essence. We're like,
bingo.
It's just that like if he takes off his mask, cool, and he shows he's black, cool. But you're also talking about a character that is the son of Reed Franklin in a different universe. Out of literally, you see a coalition of thousands of Reed Richards.
Yeah,
like that's not the hill you want to plant your flag on. Like it's
bingo.
It's Marvel, right? It's Marvel. It's the MCU. There's been weirder things. We got a Thor who is into rock music, who's definitely into metal music. Like not speaking in his normal like a Victorian voice for some weird reason. Thous and has, right? So like it's a different type of thing. If he does come off, if he shows his character, if he shows that he's black, it's gonna be a reason for it. It's gonna be a genuine reason, not because like, oh, that means Reed Franklin, that means Reed is gonna be black. No, like come on, dude. You're jumping too many hoops in this. You're thinking way too hard about this. So, but overall, he fits the freaking character. The dude looks like a freaking full-blown athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has that. You know what he does? He has that. And again, I'm not trying to say compare and contrast because of the color of his skin, but it's just the aura that comes along to him is the swagger in this picture. And I hope it comes across because, like I said, King the Conqueror is kind of a dick. He's kind of an asshole character. He's brutal. And there was a comic recently, and I think it was an Avengers book and they're trying to track down Kang the Conqueror, and he is doing some devious shit.
Yeah.
And it almost took me out of the books. I'm like, God, he is such a dick. And I couldn't stand it. But he has that swagger like Mahershala Ali does.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I think Jonathan Majors is going to do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we'll point this out. If I'm not mistaken, I take that back. The lone exception of doing 3 movies as a director is the Russo brothers, who did actually they did 4. I take that back.
Yeah.
Would be they did Captain America Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
So the Russos have done 4 movies. The one guy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done the next most movies to this point, to the point of its release, will be Peyton Reed. Peyton Reed coming back to direct for the 3rd consecutive time, Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania. We don't know yet if it will see a 4th movie, but nonetheless, we get to see that. Now, my buddy JR left something off this note. Oh, never mind. There it is. It's just not in the bullet points. Never mind. I apologize. It's right there. So yeah, anyways, real quick, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania comes out February 17th, 2023. That's right. We're now into 2023. Okay. It stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, rather, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, Catherine Newton as Stature, possibly. Well, she's playing Cassie Lang.
Yeah.
And of course, we know the aforementioned Jonathan Majors. Then we see, for the lack of a better term, the second to the last movie previewed in this trailer, and that is coming out in May of 2023. We will see James Gunn direct his 3rd consecutive full length feature Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Now, technically, if you want to get technical, shortly before Ant-Man and the Wasp, shut up, phone, my alarm's going off at work. Shortly after before the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp in February of 2023, we will actually see in December of 2022, we will see Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, directed and written by James Gunn. That will be going to Disney Plus, but it has also been announced earlier, or late last month, that Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, will not be a full-length feature film. So, sorry, James, doesn't count. So James Gunn will hit the big screen back as the director and writer of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We got to see its title sequence, whereas in Volume 2, we saw kind of the very 80s-esque kind of spray paint Volume 2 across the Guardians logo. We see a very kind of 90s, early 2000s. The logo's on the bottom. It's got like this kind of vibe. It's kind of like almost kind of like fire alarm kind of logo coming up. It's kind of cool. So we get the title sequence officially for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It is hitting theaters in May of 2023. Stars Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Palm Clementif, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, and Vin Diesel, and possibly we'll see Chris Hemsworth return as the God of Thunder, Thor, and we could see that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 could be as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Will we see, JR, you mentioned we could see a multitude of villains in this movie. We could see Michael Korvac. We could see Adam Warlock. We could see God knows what else that James Gunn has up his sleeve. We do know that the holiday special on Disney Plus is being shot back to back with Guardians 3, and the stories from Guardians will affect Guardians 3. The events of the holiday special will go right into Volume 3. So it's not just a throwaway made for TV movie, JR. The holiday special is going to be something special.
Yeah, we'll just see how it goes out.
Say?
No, we'll see how this goes out. Just that for one thing, Marvel should never get ever get rid. They should like always keep one, one's Gunn, James Gunn, and two, Taika Waititi. That's it.
Absolutely.
They should always keep them. Of course. Forgot. I literally just forgot her name. The director that
Oh,
helmed
from
Falcon Winter Soldier,
Falcon
of
Winter
course.
Soldier.
Yeah, her. Keep her. And just yeah, always keep them. Let them continue to do movies under Marvel brand and whatever the hell they want to do. One, James Gunn has always been killing it, and two, I wonder where he goes from here. Like I've been saying, and of course, this is near the very end of this slate of movies where we have the events of all the other ones combined, and one is Multiverse of Madness going to affect this movie? It all again, of course, all movies, right? If that's
Oh,
the
it's gonna affect everything.
case,
Yeah.
yeah. If that's the case, then like, is this cast of characters gonna be the exact same cast of characters that are gonna appear in Love and Thunder? In the same mentality type of role. And don't know. It'll be cool to see Groot again. It'll be cool to see see Rocket again. It'll be cool to see possibly new characters. And I'm hope to freaking whatever God is listening, that we'll finally see who Adam Warlock is being played by. I'm hoping that Adam Warlock is even in the movie, and we'll see how that goes, because he was supposed to originally be a big piece to fight off against Thanos. But again, Marvel is different, guy. MCU is different.
Let's real quick run down. Well, actually, I'll tell you that. We'll finish off the trailer that we saw. That we've taken 2 hours to talk about a 3-minute trailer, which is to be expected when it comes to Marvel. A lot to break down. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was not the last thing we saw on this lineup. We did not see any dates on this next movie, but we did see, for the first official time, well, I'll say technically the second official time, but the first time in a major marketing campaign by Marvel Studios, and that is the public debut that they are doing a Fantastic Four movie. Now, some people thought that it was the four represented the phase 4, that these movies essentially are, it is all of phase 4.
No.
But no, that 4 represents the first family of the Marvel universe. That is the Fantastic Four coming to theaters near you. It is going to be directed by the from the Homecoming director of Spider-Man. It'll be, I think his name is John Watts. And again, one would have to assume, based on the dates, you have already 2 movies in 2023, and you're only into May. One would have to assume that Fantastic Four is either going to be a July or a November release for Marvel. Maybe even push it all the way back to push it to Christmas. But so yeah, that's how it ends. And again, a great trailer with the Marvel Cinematic Universe theme playing in the background. My one takeaway, real quick, that was missing from this lineup, suspiciously, was any mention of Blade. Now, it was said in the Hall H 2019 Comic-Con panel that Blade is Mahershala Ali's Blade was going to be a part of Phase 4. I do know that they have just kind of gone into, quote, pre-production, or not pre-production, kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it's listed as pre-production, but they're looking for their crew. Okay. So yeah, anyway, so Blade was not listed. Fantastic Four had their title sequence come up, or title treatment, but no date, no cast, no nothing. So that's the end of that 3-minute trailer. It was fantastic. Like I said, starts off with and it ends with, "I'll see you back at the movies" kind of deal. So this was a 3-minute trailer to convince us fans to go back to the movies. Again, it starts off with Stan Lee narrating the whole thing, kicks off with like a review of all things great in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then the second act shows us what it's like to go back to what it's like to go to the movies and feel that experience, of course, with the portal scene from Avengers Endgame. And then it ends in the third act of this trailer with a full-fledged rundown of the next 3 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, from Black Widow all the way to the Fantastic Four. So bravo to Kevin Feige and his production team. I thought it was fantastic. What were your takeaways? Like what moment made you geek out the most? Like, what made you go, oh, no shit? Like, what was your takeaway from this 3-minute little trailer, so to speak?
I mean, the whole thing just really surprised me. It was really good. Just more so just like on just I was hoping to see more of the Eternals, if that made anything. Like it
Yeah.
was cool seeing Eternals. It was finally cool seeing them in costume, in form, with nearly the full crew. And yeah, I'm impressed, and at the same time, I'm like, wow, that is coming out so fast. Like we're getting three to four movies really freaking fast, right? Near the end of the year, we're getting just one. I just need to see what Spider-Man looks like, type of thing. Like
Yeah.
what does that look like for the third Spider-Man movie, and just more so, like I think, yeah, I just think the Eternal surprised me the most. I think that was it. Just more so seeing how full of a film it looks, right? Even at this point, even when it's it's supposed to come out November 5th, and and it looks kind of done for me, especially if
Well,
like they're going that far of
yeah.
showing us certain pivotal points in the film. Like you showed us full costume. That means there's been at least one fight, right? You showed us other backstories. You've shown us multiple locations, and so like it looks pretty done for me. Unless there's still more initial, cast or initial like filming, the film looks like, all right, cool. Moving its way into post production and was get like some small things in there, but yeah, Eternals look good for me. Eternals look really good. Shang-Chi, I mean, I know that movie comes out first, but I'm pretty sure that movie's been done for a minute. So anything else on top of that is just like basically just a cherry on top. So can't wait for Shang-Chi. Um, Black Panther, yeah. I'm more shocked that it's coming out this early.
Yeah.
I think more so than anything else. I thought it was gonna take a little bit longer. I thought I was gonna probably look into either end of 2022 or beginning of 2023. But yeah, it's looking like no, we got a slate that we need to hit, type of thing.
Exactly. So taking a look right now, looking at IMDb via Kevin Feige's page, starting with Black Widow, it is listed as completed. Loki, I'm gonna count TV shows in here as well. Loki is in post production. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is in post production. Eternals post production. Spider-Man Far From Home post production. Which means when I say post production, that means they're done with principal filming. So I didn't know that they had wrapped on Spider-Man Far From Home, but it sounds
Yeah,
like it has.
yeah.
So Spider-Man No Way Home is in post production. What If, the animated series, is in post production, and so is Hawkeye. So Hawkeye, it sounds like for the most part, might be done with principal photography
Hmm.
for that series, which makes me think if they get it in the can by summertime, we're going to see it in Disney Plus very, very soon. Thor: Love and Thunder has began filming. We know that from the release of these set photos.
Hmm.
We did see a set photo recently of She-Hulk, so we know that movie is filming. Moon Knight is in production. It's filming right now. That is scheduled for supposedly it's going to hit a deadline of this year. Supposedly, according to IMDb, I'll take that back. According to IMDb, Hawkeye we're going to get this year. I take that back. She-Hulk and Moon Knight we will get next year. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is filming, so it's only a matter of time, JR, that we get to see set photos that
Yep.
involve Jonathan Majors' version of King and the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Armor Wars also in production. It's filming right now. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is in pre-production. The Marvels is in pre-production. Now it does not have listed here. Oh, I take that back. It does. Miss Marvel is in production now. It says announced, but we know that Miss Marvel is actually in production.
Yeah.
It's showing on his IMDb page of a release date of this year. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Ironheart's in pre-production. We know that they just started casting or started putting together the writing team and the directing team for Ironheart. No announcement yet, if I'm not mistaken, of Ironheart for
I
Riri
I
Williams.
I will say if Tiona Paris was like 5 years younger, she would have been my Ironheart. She would have been my Riri.
So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy in pre-production. I Am Groot, the animated series for Disney Plus, is in pre-production. The Fantastic Four is also technically in pre-production. Blade's in pre-production. Miss Marvel is filming. According to IMDb, it says Untitled Marvel Cinematic Universe television show has been announced. I imagine that's got to be Secret Wars. And then, of course, announced just recently Echo with no release date or start for principal production. So that's kind of the rundown of all these shows that affect Phase 4. Do you think, JR, because they've kind of they've gotten hot and cold on it, much like they did with the Multiverse of Madness. They said from the get go, when the original director of Doctor Strange 1 was going to come back and direct Doctor Strange 2, he said at Comic-Con that it was going to be a scary movie. It was going to be a horror film. Do you think that maybe without, I mean, not that it's going to be, not that it would be a bad movie, but just simply from a marketing standpoint, do you think that maybe Feige, even though it says according to his IMDb page that Blade is in pre-production, but that can be anything. Do you think maybe he has a little bit of buyer's remorse, that maybe he's not ready to handle what Blade could be? Where do you stand? What do you think? What do you think they're going to do? Are they going to? Do you think right now, gun to head, do you think they're going to do Blade?
Yeah, absolutely gonna do Blade. You don't need to do Blade 1, because just the simple fact that if we're going by woke culture narrative, we need at this point another black actor helming the role of another like major role. Period.
If they're gonna go with
you have Mahershala Ali. One, you don't
Academy Award winner.
You don't bag out anything Mahershala Ali says. One, it's Mahershala freaking Ali. Exactly. You do whatever he wants to put on. And so buyer's remorse? No, I don't think so. I think it's just more so in the terms of like just COVID happened. That's it. COVID happened. Things that be pushed back when that needed to be out last year. And it's just pushing all the plans back. Because I harken back to the conversation that Kevin Feige said about like when they first took control of the IPs of X-Men and Fantastic Four, and like how people were running rampant saying that oh, we'll just add them in now, right? Like after they can come join during Endgame or whatever, right? Yeah, you do that. Like, no, you can't do that because we've had plans for the last 10 years. We have plans for the next 10 years. And we can't flippantly just, set things that we have now into the current slot because we'll just back everything up. Now, granted, they announced Mahershala Ali back in 2019 for Blade, and that it's only been 2 years.
Yeah,
it's only been 2 years. But I think they announced. When did they announce Captain Marvel? Well, as Brie Larson, like 2017, 2016?
Yeah, so the movie came out in 2018.
2019, yeah.
2019, right before Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
They announced Brie Larson, I think.
2016?
No, it was 2016 because it was the Comic-Con I didn't get to go to.
Yeah.
So it's been, yeah, and that was quick. That was a quick turnaround.
And so going back to Mahershala Ali, where if he was announced to do Blade in 2019, you would think by that vertigo, all right, cool, 2022, right? But because of COVID, coronavirus, all that, everything had to be pushed back. So looking at 2023, 2024, it makes sense. Yeah, he'll be in it. It'll be fine. So, like, the only bad thing about it is that Mahershala's gonna get a little bit older. That's it. Right.
They de-aged Nick Fury in not only Captain Marvel but also in Kong Skull Island, which I forgot about.
The de-aging I'm not worried about. It's more so the stunts, right?
Yeah,
because the stunts I'm worried about because one, I think Mahershala like 40 something now.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's not
he
looks good. He's not Spring Chicken, but he also looks good for his age.
Yeah, I mean, one, black don't crack, and then that's a damn fact with Mahershala Ali. But like, I don't want, because I harken back to I don't want him to be put in. Well, granted, he's not going to be put in like precarious positions where like he might injure himself. But like at the same time, when you have Chris Hemsworth and when you had Chris Evans and all these other people kind of doing their own stunts as well, Mahershala Ali, I don't want him doing that stuff. So the only thing that's bad is that he's gonna get a little bit older, but man, the man can act. He is definitely he's incredibly freaking talented, and just give him whatever he wants, man.
I was thinking about this right now because I've been wanting, with Blade coming out, one would assume that you kind of have someone do a little cameo, aka Wesley Snipes. Hear me out. maybe Mahershala Ali's Blade doesn't exist in the main Marvel Cinematic Universe. That maybe Mahershala Ali is going to make his debut as the Blade, as the vampire hunter, the Daywalker, so to speak, in the Multiverse of Madness. Maybe Wanda opens up this multiverse using the Darkhold, creates vampires, introduces vampires to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and brings forth maybe from a different multiverse where there's vampires and they come into our Earth via the multiverse rift, and that's what brings Blade. And who knows, that maybe part of that rift we also get to see an alternate version of Blade, and maybe we get to see Wesley Snipes' version. Who knows? There's a lot of different things that you can do with that character because he is dealing with the supernatural a little bit. So I'm excited about that. But I was a little shocked that we didn't see Blade, but at the same time, I wasn't shocked, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
My takeaways, I think I'm right there with JR. When the Eternals flashed up, I was pretty stoked, but I think that from beginning to end, it's probably one of the best piece of marketing that Marvel's done. They continue to outdo themselves. For those of you who are watching are wondering why he didn't talk about the mutants, I'm going to say this once again. I wholeheartedly believe that mutants live amongst us and that they are dealing much like what they did in the comic books back in the 1960s, that they are living quietly amongst us, that they don't want to deal with being outed. They think about this. If mutants came out right now, mutants were at the forefront of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what's the first thing they're going to have to do? Just like in the comic books, mutant registration. You're going to have to, in the MCU version, go right for the Sokovia Accords. We don't know if they still exist. It sounds like to me, after seeing Falcon the Winter Soldier and WandaVision, that the Sokovia Accords do sort of still exist in canon, that they are still holding to them, even though superheroes saved the freaking universe by defeating Thanos. That at least amongst the major Earth countries that the Sokovia Accords exist. So I honestly think that mutants already live amongst us, and that they're just doing just that. That they are just like the Eternals. They're just kind of quietly living amongst us, and because everyone's like, how are they going to address it? Was the snap the mutation they needed? I said no. I honestly think they've always been there, and they're just going to show themselves when the time is right. And I hope that they do this for Miss Marvel's case and her origin story. They do the same thing with Inhumans. I hope that they do. I know that it's kind of got a bad taste in their mouth because of the TV show, but I hope that they do her story right. I hope she goes through Terrigenesis. I hope she's referred to as an Inhuman. I think it does her story justice by doing that.
We'll just it's quite exciting next couple of years to see, guys, with the slate of movies coming around, as well as just the amount of information that's being constantly being given on at this point a freaking weekly basis. I can see that full well, saying that there's probably the third or fourth script that I rewrite in the past month.
Well, it's been, and I'm looking at it, and there's so much going on. Obviously, DC is also killing it. They've got a whole bunch of new stuff with the Arrowverse continuing to grow. What's it called?
They recasted Kate Bishop again. So instead of Ruby Rose reprising her role, it's gonna be a different actress now. Looks very similar to.
Yeah, she looked similar. Yeah.
That was. I just noticed. I saw that one. I'm like, it was gonna be a Marvel type of thing. I was gonna hopefully put off to next week, but then since we're in it, there was they recast Ruby Rose's character, or they recasted Kate Bishop character. So there's that, man.
So anyway, so we've got a lot going on. We will get to the best of April next week. I think it's safe to say for right now, JR, I think we're not going to do a wrap-up show on Bad Batch. I think just because JR will single-handedly turn that into a 4-hour marathon because the dude is a nerd for animation. And at the time of this recording, it is Monday night, creeping ever so closer to Tuesday morning. And we do know that those things drop at midnight. So JR, at the time of recording, it's 10:30. You got an hour and a half till Bad Batch episode 1 drops. on Disney Plus. So I hope you use your nap time to stay up. But we'll talk about it. Probably Jared, I'm sure we'll mention it in next week's show. And I think the next big breakdown we'll do is probably going to be for Loki and maybe for What If. But we'll take a little break. So yeah,
I might talk about Invincible. Honestly, because that wrapped up already. That's been going crazy.
Well, guys,
the one thing I want to add on to that for on the topic of before it's kind of harking back to streaming websites. Invincible is one of the top 10 out of all the platforms for new series coming in, and that's including WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier. Of course, those two I think were top 5. But yeah, slowly creeping in this Amazon Prime animation blood and gore comic coming in at number 10 with Stephen Wynn. So there you go.
Well, we are living in the golden age. People talked about the late 90s and the early 2000s was the golden age of television and stuff like that. But we're not, by no definition, in the golden age of movies. But I think that when it comes to, for us comic book fans, we are in definitely the golden era of comic books, comic book movies, and pop culture content between Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and even, and like I said, even Image and whatnot. So it's good to be the king right now. So guys, thank you so much for listening to our show and doing the full wrap up of this big trailer release, so to speak, that came out this past week. Check it out. It's on our Facebook page, facebook.com/PSComics I Love You. You can also find it on Twitter at PSComics I Love the letter U. And of course, we will post that Miss Marvel set photo online for you to check out the costume design for her. If I can find it, also we'll get the Kate Bishop, Echo, and Clint Barton costumes posted. And of course, we will also post the link to the GoFundMe for John Paul Leon. It'll be posted at the time of this episode dropping, and go out and support his family. All right, guys, thank you so much. As always, my name is Kevin Pillow. I'm at Voice of Reason 23. Send me a like on all social media platforms, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. He is also not JR Comics 42 on Instagram. He is the Dark King, JR Cabacungan.
I'm also now called the energy deprived one because of my lack of caffeine. So there's that.
Yes, and again, guys, do us all a favor. Rack up the views on the using the link, of course, on our Facebook page for this video, and just the Stan Lee stuff alone will bring you chills, and it's amazing. So, all right, guys, have a great night, and of course, don't forget, if you're listening to us on audio, head over to the Facebook page or the YouTube page. The link is in the bottom of the description on Anchor and all the different podcast platforms. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much for viewing us for the last hour or so and whatnot. If you get a chance, don't forget, head over to the audio format. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Prime Music, Anchor.fm, Spotify, just to name a few. And for those of you asking, no, we are not going to the Apple or Spotify subscription platforms, at least not yet. Maybe we'll one of these days add some cool content behind a paywall, but right now it's all about giving back to the fans, and we really enjoy it. You got any comments, hit us up, pscomicsIloveyou@gmail.com, or drop them right below. Give us that 5-star rating wherever you are. Subscribe, like, and ring that bell for notifications on YouTube. And I'm going to go to bed. So guys, as always, be nice to your neighbor, have fun out there, live long and prosper. Wakanda forever. But this week, as always,
peace.
May the force be with you.
Oh God, that's right.
Peace.
Also, quick announcement. Happy birthday to my nephew, JJ, out there watching. His birthday gonna be tomorrow too. So happy birthday, little buddy.
Yeah.
Later.
If I had whatever that little horn, I gotta get the Roadmaster, dude. I gotta get the sound effects.
Dude, I've been looking at it. I've been wanting to buy it, man, but it's just so expensive.
All right, guys. Peace.